Hi there guys, it's Pip here, and today I just want to talk to you a little bit about what does it actually mean to be financially independent, and more than that, what does it mean to you and why should we bother? And to do that I want to just illustrate a little story to you, something that happened to me today, and I want to share a realisation that I had. So this morning I went to a car boot sale. I'm recording this and it's Sunday. I work in retail at the moment. I was lucky enough to get the weekend off. I should have gone one to Saturday morning, very tired, but I ended up going to a car boot. So at this car boot, really it was a bit more of a jumble sale, and there was people selling different things, antiques, clothes, you name it, and it was dead. Really it was dead. So hardly anyone came in through the door. It was indoors. It just didn't have the customer flow that would be needed to make a profit. Obviously it costs to do a car boot sale, so if you think of it in a basic mathematical formula, you know, cash goes out and you have to cover your expenses for renting the space, and then you have to make a profit on top of that, covering what you've paid for the items. And it was dead, and so about 11 o'clock I was like, that's it, I'm going home, because the guys had told me usually it's a lot busier than that, especially by that time, and they close at 12 anyway. And you might be thinking, well Pip, why are you telling me all this? What's a car boot sale or an indoor tabletop sale or any kind of sale got to do with knowing what being financially independent is? And it does have a lot to do with it, because what I realised was that there are people who have the wrong strategy to stay financially independent. Now I was very lucky. I've got my hands on this book, and if you can get your hands on this book at your local library, it's Money Masters the Game by Tony Robbins. It's 7 simple steps to financial freedom, and it really is for the lay person, people like me. I wasn't brought up with knowing anything other than to save. Thankfully my parents taught me to save, but we really didn't talk about money. I didn't know what an annuity was, for example. You might be thinking the same, and now I've mentioned that. And I would definitely recommend this book, and I was trying to get through this book because I have to give it back to the library in a couple of days' time. And as I was sat there and sales were not happening, and there was just this kind of jumble of items that, you know, people didn't want, clearly, and I was thinking, gosh, these people just don't know, like, and I am trying to get rid of some of the clothes I started for an eBay business, which didn't work out. Just get rid of the last couple, and if selling clothes in a car boot sale was a business model, it would fail, because people are just looking for obviously cheap items, £1, 50p, $1 if you're in Australia or the US. And at the end of it, 2 things happened. First of all was a woman who said, I don't know why people are packing away. And to me that was a bit surprised, because I get the impression she was there quite regularly. And with any kind of selling, if you don't have customers, obviously there's no point. The other thing was 2 other women who were talking, and one was selling DVDs, and the one woman who had a different stall said, I don't know why those aren't selling. Now the lady with the DVDs said, well, DVDs are not selling because people nowadays can go online and rent. You know, maybe you can download off, you know, Netflix or whatever. And I was like, wow, this woman has paid for a stall to sell things with a strategy she knows doesn't work. Like, why would you do that? Why would you invest your finances, your time and your energy into something you know doesn't work? And I'm reading this book at the same time, literally a couple of metres away, about strategy, about really simple steps you can put in place. And I've actually contacted the Tony Robbins team this morning because I'm obviously a British citizen, and a lot of these are to do with the US and based on sort of US laws and US accounts that you can get, and I really want to implement them to keep my family safe basically. So I was reading that just a couple of metres away and I was thinking, gosh, you know, if I had not started another business, or if I wasn't looking to become financially independent, you know, at the minute I'm on minimum wage, my hours are about to drop, and I could have gone back to doing this eBay selling business, being in a store like this, paying money to be there. Things are not selling, you're not making any income. You know, I actually made a loss this morning of £3, and it was just mad. And I came home and I realised that financial independence, it's not these ideas that we all have about having a huge mansion and a swimming pool and a nice car. Because when I started business, I was around people like Stuart, like Kubassek, like Justin Wolf, all the high flyers, and if you haven't heard of them, they basically started an online platform to help other people start business after their own independent experiences of not having enough basically, and feeling that desperation and that sense of not knowing what to do, and you can find out more about them on my website, which I'll put below. And all these people, you know, Stuart for example is into his cars, and Jay spends his time with his family more than anything, but these people have nice things, and I was like, I realised that financial independence is not having all these flashy things. You know, you don't really want a huge mansion with a massive swimming pool if that's not for you. It's not for all of us, and for me it would just mean more dusting, and I'm not a jellyfish, so I wouldn't need a big pool. I don't, you know, sporadically turn into an octopus on the stroke of midnight, so, and I don't go swimming at the moment anyway. Maybe when you've got more time you just want to do that for fitness. But financial independence, I realised for me, it means not only not struggling, but it also means having that strategy to make it work. And I came home and I had some dinner and I thought, financial independence is all the little things. It's the difference between being able to order a pizza or living on cans of beans every single day. It's the difference between being able to put 10 quid in your car and trying to drive to make the most of it, which I have done, or being able to just fill up and not have to worry about whether it's at a supermarket or whether it's somewhere else with a slightly higher price. It's the difference between being able to keep the lights on. I'm very conscious when I'm at home. I always turn the lights that I don't need off because I don't want to waste electricity and I don't want to waste money. I don't, you know, I'm not washing things all the time. You know, if I have washing up, I let it pile up before I wash it because I need to make that economically viable. You know, and I don't go out a lot, and you know, I don't go and see my mum a lot. You know, it takes about 100 miles worth of petrol just to see her, and it's all those little things, and it really hit home. And I was like, Pip, you need to get a strategy together now. 2020 is the time for us, really. And something amazing that I came across was I have obviously this YouTube channel, and I was so blessed a couple of days ago in fact to come across an amazing video by Sean Cannell, who wrote a book called YouTube Secrets. In fact, let me get that for you right now. Apologies, that's a bit close to the camera. YouTube Secrets. Sean Cannell has God knows how many thousands, probably millions of subscribers. He's been doing YouTube for, I think he said 13 years, and he is one of the leading people in making an income from YouTube, along with people like Daryl Eves as well. And I'm going to put a link to their video, to Sean's video below, because from that you can get a web class, and from that you can sign up to something called VRA, which is Video Ranking Academy, and I'm going to sign up for this because I've got lots of videos on YouTube as you're watching this, but I'm not making a profit from it, and since my hours going to drop, my alternative is literally spending the rest of my life on like 16 hours a week at minimum wage, and it's just not going to cover it, and I can't settle for that. It's just, there's no future, there's barely even a present. I can barely afford the present, let alone the future, and I really want to just wake you up today, because that was a massive revelation to me, that it's all the little things that it's like being able to afford nice food. It's being able to afford to, maybe, I don't know, stop off at a McDonald's on the way to see a friend, and drive those long distances. It's all these little things, and I really want you to sit down and maybe just get a piece of paper and write down all the little things that really matter to you. I am so used to being not able to afford things, and I know it's the law of attraction. I know I've been attracting that by my thoughts and scarcity mindset, and that needs to change so much. I need to take massive action, as Tony Robbins says, to change that, and I really want to bring that awareness to you today, because the alternative is not good. And do you know something? The states are not interested if you're not able to afford the life you want. As we speak at the moment, sickness pay in the UK is £83 a week. £83 a week for most people won't even cover their rent or their mortgage, let alone buy them food or give them heating or lighting or allow them to even boil a kettle. So that needs to change, and I don't want you ever to get stuck in that same place. So that's all from me. I will put the links below, and I hope I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for those notifications. We try and bring out 2 videos every single week about business insights, about mindset insights, because everything that happens in our lives comes from how we perceive our life, and henceforth the choices we then make based on that information and that perception. And I really want you to be prosperous. I want you to have access to books like this. As I say, if you can get this from the library, read it, it's wonderful. There's a lot of stuff on audio as well, and yeah, I just wanted to bring that to you today. So that's all from me, and I'll see you next time. You take care. Bye now.